Hey everybody, and welcome to the very first Tales from the Texas Whiskey Trail podcast here at 7 Grand Austin. Everybody, let them know that you're here. You're going to have to bear with us. This is our very first time doing this here at the location, very first time doing it live for sure. So we're probably going to have some technical difficulties as we go throughout the evening, but we have a very big lineup today. Today has been a really, really big day in Texas whiskey across the board. This has been a big week in Texas whiskey, haven't we?
Yeah, it's so exciting. And some of you may have already seen the cover of Texas Monthly.
Yes.
That has been delivered to a lucky few of you. We have not gotten our hands on it, but it's all about the whiskey boom that we've been experiencing.
The Texas whiskey boom.
The Texas whiskey boom. So It's super exciting. We can't wait to see it ourselves. So if you have a copy and you're in downtown Austin, come to 7 Grand. I will buy you a drink. I will buy you 2 drinks. I am dying to see it.
Yes. So please, seriously, if you have the Texas Monthly article, come on down.
I'm not lying. And they have tacos. I'll buy you a taco.
Right.
They do.
So we have a big bunch of guests tonight because everybody in the Texas whiskey community seems to be here, at least in the Austin area.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of things to talk about. We had a big mobilization today on the political front because some of our members were out in D.C. fighting for the Craft Beverage Modernization Tax Reform Act. We'll talk about that a little bit later. That'll be boring, but we're going to talk about other fun stuff too. So let's talk about a little bit about what the podcast is here to do.
Sure, yeah. I mean, that's really your wheelhouse. I'm just here to make jokes, look pretty.
Yeah, right.
No.
So what the podcast is here to talk about. The Texas Whiskey Trail, for those of you that don't know, is an entity that's been around for just about a year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've been working on it for a year.
Right, but the trail went live over Memorial Day weekend, so we've had a couple months now. We've had a few folks who have actually completed the trail. But what we're finding is that there's so many fun events going on throughout the month that we wanted to get on here and be able to just kind of give you a rundown and some of the highlights of what's going on and what you should participate in beyond just the Trailblazer events that we host monthly and quarterly.
Trailblazer events are fun, and we can do about one a month.
Yeah.
But there's so much more. I mean, there's 15 distilleries and growing on the trail right now. So there's an event every weekend. There's something to do every weekend in the Texas whiskey world. So we're going to talk about that tonight. We also have Jake Clements of the Texas Whiskey Festival here with Ty Phelps of Andalusia Whiskey Company, founding member of the trail.
And another plug to come on down tonight if you are watching and you're at home and you're close by, because Ty is previewing some stuff that's like really amazing and special, and you don't want to miss it. So come down. Yeah,
there's some stuff that's coming out this fall, and for those of you that don't know, whiskey's kind of really big during October, November, and December. And because that's when a lot of people like to buy whiskey.
Well, and in Texas, it's finally not insanely hot, and so you're like, oh, it's fall, and I'm not from Texas originally, and so what I quickly had to learn is you have to pretend that it's fall. Like, so you have to do all the fall things, and it may still be 80 or 90 degrees, but you've got your fall candle going. You've got, your pumpkin spice everything, apple cider with some whiskey. I don't know, whatever you have to do to make it feel like fall.
She and I are always having a fight over when you get to light the autumn leaves candle.
Yes.
Because I say, see?
Oh, no. We started September.
Yeah, you started in September.
Yeah.
I say it has to be like, the high has to not reach 70.
Yeah. No, then that'll be like Christmas.
I know.
Right? Yes.
I know, but otherwise it's just like a tease.
But if you want me to stay in Texas, I have to feel like I have some semblance of a fall.
Yeah, I understand that.
But I'll drink whiskey now. So that's the deal. The autumn leaves candle goes on, and then we get a really good whiskey drink.
Deal.
All right.
Deal. So for those of you watching at home, which I don't know if there are many right now, but hopefully more of you will be watching later.
Mom.
We're at 7 Grand Austin, and this is an amazing, amazing whiskey bar. Steve White, the manager here, he's offered this up to us. This is an amazing gift that he's given us to be able to do this, and we're really, really excited that we get even an opportunity to talk in front of everybody, that we have all these people that we see on the trail. They're all here tonight, and it's really, really encouraging to see all you guys. So thank you so much for coming. Thanks to Steve And if you're in the area, come down to 7 Grand. They have an unbelievable selection of whiskeys from around the world, including a ever-growing Texas whiskey section. So.
And I'm drinking a Little Italy, and I cannot tell you what's in it. But I liked it so much last time I was here, I looked at my Instagram feed like an hour ago and was like, what was that drink I liked? Because I posted about it, and it's a Little Italy. And I think it's got bourbon in it. And some other stuff, and it's really good.
I don't know, but it looks good.
It is delicious.
The other thing that we'll be doing tonight is we're going to be announcing the 20 winners of the Balcones single malt blending and bottling Trailblazer exclusive event. We have the list right here. We randomly selected it before we came, and we'll be announcing that here very soon.
So stay tuned.
So
don't turn us off, please.
And the special guest that we have tonight is the Trailblazer who came from the furthest place in the world to be a Texas whiskey trailblazer, Jesse Willson of the Still It YouTube channel. He's here in town, and we'll be talking with him a little bit later. So we have a special night with him. So if we could, Josh and Gretchen, would you guys mind coming up? Josh and Gretchen Golladay, for those of you who know anything about Texas whiskey, you know about Josh and Gretchen. You know about the Golladays, and we love the Golladays. So.
Hi guys.
How are you?
Good. How are you? I haven't even seen you guys tonight yet.
I know.
How are you?
Snuck in. Hi.
Yeah.
See you, sir. Yeah. Thanks for
I
having
would
us
hug
up here.
you, but I think I'm gonna knock over the mic.
That's
so
all right.
you know.
So we're a little shy on mic, so you're gonna have to like talk close and stuff. But you're married, so it's all used
It's all
to
good.
it.
It's all good. We can snuggle.
Aww.
Okay, that's enough.
So, guys, tell us a little bit about, one, how you got into whiskey, first of all, and two, why Texas Whiskey Life and what Texas Whiskey Life is about.
Yeah, so I started trying whiskey probably 7-8 years ago, just trying random things I'd pick up at the store. I didn't know anything about anything.
Right.
Didn't know what a bourbon was, what a single malt scotch was, any of that type of stuff. And eventually, we started to get into the craft beer scene that was kind of exploding in Austin. And right behind that, distilleries started to pop up. And I thought, well, if I can go visit these breweries, surely I can go visit these distilleries and see what's going on there as well. So we went out to Andalusia, we went out to Garrison Brothers, and really just started to fall in love. I think the first one that really grabbed my attention was the Garrison Brothers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Beautiful property.
Yeah.
Gorgeous
Oh
property.
my gosh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a piece that you get when you go out there and you just get into that environment and that beautiful ranch, and that's Texas whiskey to me.
Yeah.
It's just being out in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. And just kind of went from there. We went to Balcones and loved it up there. Went up to Iron Root, checked out those guys, and
then we found Daniel and Rex.
and then we found of course, the Whiskey Vault
Thanks,
Wizard
Daniel.
Academy. Thanks, Daniel.
We used to have money. Now it all goes to
Daniel's here.
whiskey.
Yep. So it kind of went on from there, and we decided to put together a YouTube channel and kind of social media pages called Texas Whiskey Life. So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and just kind of getting that going.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty fun.
Now, Gretchen, you were a little bit like me. Like at first, we would commiserate because we
Yes.
were the whiskey wives.
drinking
we're like,
wine, yeah.
we're like, okay, here we go. So, what changed it for you to make you more interested in it?
For me, it was the community. Going out to all the distilleries, the distillers and their honest story, their beautiful story, hearing the passion that they have behind it, you couldn't help but want to get engaged. You couldn't help to want to be part of the community.
Yeah.
And honestly, Andalusia has the best chocolates. If anybody's been to Andalusia,
It is true.
they're amazing. Every time we
Yeah.
go out there, I buy like 5 or 6 boxes
Yeah.
and give them to people.
Yeah.
Garrison has some great chocolates. I hear Iron Root's supposed to be getting some chocolates
All
soon.
right.
I don't know. I have an inside scoop. So I think it's just the craft and the community and it being such a family that you couldn't help but want to be part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I love that you guys use that craft and community bit because craft for a long time has meant small.
Right.
And as we know, there's nothing small about Texas.
No.
But there's something very true about the craft of Texas whiskey, right? And it is a very intentional thing. These guys and girls care about the work that they're doing.
Right.
And the craft that goes into it. And I think that's what you guys have been experiencing over the last year. I know that's what we've seen. There's a lot of passion that goes into Texas whiskey, and we're excited to see where it goes next.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, who else but like Jared Hemstead cares about making sure all the blue corn comes from local farms? And,
Right.
You know, I mean, the guys at Iron Root trying heirloom corn varieties and experimental bourbon batches. You know, there's a lot of experimentation and innovation happening down here, and that's what we really mean by craft.
Yeah.
And the community part of it is a lot of these, with the certified Texas whiskeys, they're going to their local farmers and they're going to their local communities, trying to bring business in and have the farmers grow the corns and what goes in there.
Yeah.
So it's a fantastic thing. So they're giving back to the community as well.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Jared Hempstead, we have a very, very big event. So for those of you that don't know, the once a quarter, we're going to do what's called a Trailblazer official selection. So we did our very first at Garrison Brothers. You guys actually get to be a part of that process as well. So tell them a little bit about what that was like. I mean, you've done quite a few picks at Garrison. So.
Yeah, a handful in our time, our short time. Yeah, so you guys did a barrel selection, and then you brought another set of people back to do the actual bottling of that. And I mean, they show you an amazing time. They give you, feed you lunch, and you get to drink the bourbon and work on the bottling line, do the wax dipping, which is always the fun part. And then sign bottles and label everything, put them in the boxes, and then have them ready for Trailblazers to go pick up.
Yeah. So there is still about, last I heard, there's still about 19 or so of the very first bottling from Garrison Brothers, the official selection. So if you are a Trailblazer, which is the top tier of membership, there's 3 tiers, Free Riders, Mavericks, and Trailblazers. Trailblazers are the ones that get all the exclusive benefits, the events, the opportunity to do things like we're going to do next with Balcones. But you can go right now to the distillery, pick up a bottle of this exclusive Renita Revis. I'm saying that right now?
I think so.
Revis?
I think so, yeah.
I always say Revis, and she always tells me I'm wrong. So Renita picked her barrel got picked, and that's the one that we bottled. So you can go get that now, and then we're about to have a whole slew of new bottles from Balcones. And speaking of that, I want to give you guys each a little bit of something to read.
All right, I'll give you these to Gretchen.
So if you're watching online, I don't know if we have very many people watching online, but if you signed up over the last couple of weeks, we randomly selected, and trust us, we were randomly selecting.
Randomly. Like he hit a button and it went doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Yeah, the same process you
stopped.
saw in the past
Yeah.
is what we were doing just behind the scenes,
Yeah.
so that we could be ready for the podcast today. But we have the winners of the Balcones official selection, and they're going to be coming at 1 o'clock on Saturday in Waco to meet with Jared Hempstead. Now, what we're going to do is a little bit different than it was at Garrison. We're going to be picking from all of their single malt barrels, the different styles, like the Mirador, the peated, the bourbon finish, the everything, the weeded. Or no, not the weeded, that's bourbon. We're going to be doing lots of things, and Jared's going to go through his process of blending a single malt for a release. And he's going to teach us and break us into teams, and then those teams are going to go and try to play with proportions, and then we're all going to blind taste test each other's versions. And then we're going to pick one. Maybe it'll be Jared's that he's blended himself, maybe it'll be one of the Trailblazers, but that's the proportions that Balcones is going to bottle. And that bottling is only going to be available if you're a Texas Whiskey Trailblazer.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That
At
sounds
the
like a great
distillery.
experience.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
So without further ado, we're going to announce the winners here. The first one is John Picard.
Hey.
So congratulations,
Nice.
John. Stephen Culver, Collver, C-O-L-L-V-E-R. Here's one, Jake Clements.
Woo, Jake.
Yeah,
There you go, Jake.
Jake.
Aaron LeMay. And this one makes me so happy because he's been going through a lot lately. James Botek
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Yay.
gets to go with us.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Okay. And I've said this name before, and hopefully I get it right. LaShawn Arsenault, you're going to join us. Juan Corrales. Kat, I don't know how to say her last name. How do you say Kat's last name? Rajne?
Rajne.
Just got engaged.
Yes, they did. So,
The best
this
part.
happy engagement. This is our wedding present to you. David Hanlon and Brendan Gage.
All right, and I have Michael Hagan, Matthew Hobbs, John Gunsel
Yeah.
over there.
John?
Yeah. Eric Lally and Jordan Wiedemeyer.
Okay. And I've got Matthew Tanzer, Allison Larson, Heather Koenig, Jerusha Lewin, I'm sorry if I said it wrong, and Michael Watkins, sorry.
Yes. So we'll be emailing all of you that won. Congratulations. And so you can RSVP and make sure that you can come. We also have a few alternates so that if anyone can't come, we'll reach out to you as well. But we're so excited for Saturday.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really fun.
Ooh, that was loud.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Thank you for being on this journey with us.
It's been amazing.
It's been an amazing year,
Yeah.
and even though the trail is only officially about 4 months old.
Yeah.
By the way, folks, we just did the numbers last night. We're about to cross 1,000 members
Oh, amazing.
of the Texas Whiskey Trail, which is really, really exciting. And we have over 2,000 check-ins. Daniel, you can credit about 200 of them at the Bastards Ball this weekend. We had 2,000 going into it, and we have about 2,300 now.
Yeah.
So, like, check-ins are every time you go in. And by the way, if you are a trail member of any kind, there's a kiosk right over there. You get 10 extra points for being here tonight.
Yes.
And every time we do one of these, you can go and check in at
Yeah.
the Tales of the Trail podcast.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming so much. I appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. And now I'd like to bring up somebody that is killing it on the trail. Jose, who is our points leader on the trail. And Stan, you're going to be up in just a second, too.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Jose,
How's it going?
you are a amazing trailblazer.
Woo! Yeah.
Like, we get to see, like, the reports, and we're like, oh, there's Jose. Oh, there's Jose.
Yeah.
How is Jose doing all this stuff? I don't understand. But it's amazing what you've been doing. Tell us a little bit about what this has been like for you.
Man, this has been an amazing experience. Like they were saying earlier, just how accepted I was in the community and in the craft community. Everybody has their own like little thing, little niche that they're doing. Texas is a really big state. There's a bunch of weather that actually, like weather patterns that goes along in Texas, and it really changes the difference from like the Gulf Coast to the hill country to like the northern region. It really changes the spirit like throughout Texas. And then everybody's playing with their own like little thing, their own little like motto. Going to Tawakaro, they kind of took something from Iron Root, and then they also took something from Balcones, and then they created their own like addition to their own little blend that they're kind of working on as well. And then MKT has their great projects that they're working on, like their rice bourbon.
Yeah.
So that's some great
Working
stuff.
with local Katie Rice.
Yeah,
which
Katie
is-
Rice, and I didn't know Katie was known for rice until I ran out there and I was like, hey, rice, whoa, we grow rice here? That's so cool. Yeah, no, we grow so much here in Texas.
You know, one of the things that, Sarah, you just came back from Bourbon Women in Louisville.
Yep.
And one of the things that we noticed that, you know, the Kentucky Bourbon Trail has been killing it for years now, really making a great experience. We have to tip our hats to what they've done in Kentucky because it absolutely has kind of, you know, shown the model of what a whiskey trail can look like.
Yeah.
So props to them for that. We've done it a little bit different because Texas is different, and it's a very, very big state. So instead of just, you know, a check-in process, we actually have a membership so that you can pay to become a member and go around the state throughout the year and earn points. And this man has been earning points like crazy.
Oh yeah, no, it's
But let's talk a little bit about the fact that every place in Texas is different. That's one big difference between Kentucky and here is that every distillery kind of has its own little thumbprint that is completely unique.
No, most definitely. The northern region has like the corn kind of down. Gulf Coast region is now getting into rice, and then the hill country is just doing their own weird things, especially with like the Elevage system, still Austin, and then Crowded Barrel with their first crowdfunded distillery. And then if you go to Treaty Oaks, they have their whole restaurant, which is awesome. They have their whole live music, so they're really making it into like a family-oriented. And then MKT kind of took that model, and they're now doing a whole every time there's like a sporting event, every time like the mayor comes in, they actually do an event for them.
That's cool.
So they're actually making the community come to the distillery, hang out, and they're actually making the community in the craft distillery. So I think that's super cool.
So did you feel like each visit was different?
Yeah, no, each visit was completely different than the last one. Everybody really has their own like yeast strain, to their own mash bill, to when they cook it, when they ferment it, what goes behind the still, the secrets that go behind it. Yeah, you really get a little bit of that, and it makes it that much more enjoyable, just because you know the hard work, the backbreaking. I was with Ty making Striker, and we were putting almost 50 pounds of grain in a 200-pound grain silo. So it's really backbreaking stuff.
Yeah. Now I have to bring this up, unfortunately, because we all thought you were going to, hands down, be the first person to complete the trail. You by far have the most number of check-ins and points and things like that, but we were like, surely you're going to be the first person to complete the trail. And you were in a little bit of a race with Stan, who we'll bring up here in a second, but out of the blue, just literally out of nowhere, Davin Estrella came in and beat you by what? Minutes?
Yeah, it was literally almost minutes. I was actually headed to take off from Houston at 9, projected to get there at 12, and I actually got there at almost 1:30. And I'm guessing he was the person I had passed walking in. So it was literally like, hey, he had his drink. He was about to leave, and I literally got there. So it was, by 8 to maybe 10 minutes.
So like Houston traffic strikes again.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, we have a little bit of a consolation prize. Well,
we do.
Actually, we have your trail completion bonus. And we haven't released this yet to the public to show what you get as a Trailblazer.
We didn't think anybody would complete it this quick.
Yeah, you really made us sweat and work really hard. No, but we put together some things that you get. So when you check into all, 15 distilleries this year.
All 15 within a calendar year.
Within a calendar year from when your membership started, you get the following. I feel like Vanna White. Okay, so we have you a little lovely Texas Whiskey Trail lapel pin.
Lapel pin. Woo.
Yes.
All right.
And
so
we have a sticker for you. You know, like some people, they run marathons and they put it on their car.
Other people drink whiskey.
Yeah.
Cheers. Right?
Hey, there you go.
So the very first finisher is Davin Estrella and Jose.
Yes, but the big piece is this lovely
flask
that we're doing.
Very nice, yeah.
And it has the Texas Whiskey Trail logo on it, so you can, when you're doing all that driving and going back to all those distilleries, you can
fill up and put it in the
up.
backseat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Do not drink it while you're driving.
Yes.
Yes. So there you go. So we have a little something for you. So,
awesome.
And
Thank
at
you.
the different tiers of memberships, you get different prices, and we'll be releasing those as well in the coming weeks, and we'll have our store going live as well, so you can buy.
Yeah, a lot of things coming up, a lot
Lots
of
of
things to do, so we're very busy lately.
Oh yeah, no. So apparently I have 2 more, right, by the end of the year. Is that what you're saying? Because I completed 13, and there's
Maybe.
15. So we may get a couple more then.
That's right.
Well, I
Before the
mean,
end of the year.
we may be adding a couple more, what we're calling them preview members.
Oh, there you go.
So,
Okay.
so we'll be adding a few more distilleries this year, and those will be preview members until 2020, and then the 2020 trail will be released in January, and then you'll have a whole new calendar year to complete. So
Yeah.
the hits just keep on coming for you, buddy.
Yeah,
I'm sorry
exactly.
I'm sorry about the mileage on your car.
Yeah,
So
right.
2020 could be the year for
Yeah,
you.
the next year. 20. There's always
Could be
next
the
year.
year
Yeah,
of Jose.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Jose.
Yes,
You've been
thank
an
you so
amazing
much.
trailblazer.
Yes.
You still are. So thank you so
Yes.
much, brother.
Congratulations.
Stan Smith. I feel like Oprah. Come on up.
But we do not have cars.
We do
for
not
all
have
of
cars
you.
for people.
No.
Hey guys.
Sorry.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Doing all right.
So Stan, you were in a little bit of a race with Jose for a while.
He didn't know it.
Yeah.
I didn't tell him.
So you're part of a group here in the Austin region or the Hill Country Austin region called the Probst Guild. Tell us a little bit about Probst Guild.
All right. Well, the Probst Guild is an acronym for Pflugerville Round Rock Order of Bourbon Spirits Tasters Guild. Probst. And my buddy James, who just won one of the events this weekend, he started the Probst Guild. And I believe I was the second or third person he addressed, just saying, hey, would you want to join my group?
Yeah.
We'll share each other's bars, basically. And it was like, absolutely. Within a couple of months, we did our first distilling tour over at Spirit of Texas.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah.
they were our first.
New member?
Yes.
New member. And then our second one was Andalusia.
Oh, cool.
And the group exploded. So we're like 300 members now.
Awesome.
Do bottle sharing once a month. And we go and revisit the distilleries, especially the Texas Whiskey Trail.
Yeah.
So you guys gave us a map of this is what we do. And that's my job is to go, I'm scheduling where are we going to visit this month.
Yeah.
That map was really nice to have. You know,
Well,
And
it
actually-
gives us a direction.
And actually, you guys, the Probst Guild was the day that we opened the trail. The first place we went to was with the Probst Guild at Andalusia.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So it's kind of
That
all
was so
coming
fun.
full circle here just in 4 months.
Yeah, we
So-
did the Blanco hat trick that day.
You did?
Yep.
And for those of you wondering what the Blanco hat trick is, there's 3 Texas Whiskey Trail distilleries in Blanco, Texas. You have Andalusia Whiskey Company, you have Milam and Green Whiskey, and you have Real Spirits Distilling. And they're all like within 3 miles of each other.
Yep.
So if you go and complete the Blanco hat trick, you'll get extra points for being on the trail if you do that all in the same day.
Yep.
Just don't drink too much all in the same
Or
day.
just have a DD.
Yeah, have lots of DDs.
Yes.
We carpooled that day. We rented a van.
You guys did well.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of a van, you're doing another big event, and we're kind of working on that together a little bit too.
We are looking at visiting the North Texas on November 1st through 3rd.
Yes.
And so we're going to hit 5 Point Distilling on that Saturday. We're going to follow at the anniversary for Iron Root that night. So that will complete my whiskey trail
Yay.
with
Yes.
Andalusia at that time.
I'll have to remember to bring
Excuse
your
me,
completion
Iron Root at that
baggage.
time, right?
Yeah.
We'll bring your trail completion gift that
Yes.
weekend.
Yes.
All right, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So you were mentioning that how many do you have booked for the weekend? That weekend, like 4?
We have 4 distilleries, yeah.
Okay. So there's 5 on the North Texas Trail. Balcones is one of them, so it's kind of on the way up
Correct.
in Waco. And then there's 4 in the Dallas area proper, and we might be adding more soon. Stay tuned. But if other Trailblazers want to join, we have a pretty cool event going on that Friday night, November 1st, at the Cambria Hotel. And we'll post this online later for a link. But I think if you go to bit.ly/NTX rooms, so that's bit.ly/NTX rooms, you'll be able to, and you're a Trailblazer, excuse me. If you're a Trailblazer, you'll be offered a $50 off of a room at the Cambria Hotel downtown Dallas.
Yeah. Right.
Which is about a 4.5-star hotel, amazing deal. And we are going to have a North Texas tasting event with the executive chef Nathan Enders, who's going to do a food pairing with all of the North Texas distilleries that Friday night.
Yeah.
So you can come and join. And what else could they get to do?
So if you come, just general public, the tickets are going to be $40 for that
right.
tasting, which it's all 4 distilleries are going to be there,
All
right?
5.
Oh, all 5 distilleries are going to be there. Great. And so you're going to tasting and some really yummy food. If you're a Trailblazer, you can come and get $10 off and get that for $30.
If you're a trail member of any kind.
Trail member,
sorry,
right, yeah.
trail
Yeah.
member of any kind. But the big thing is, if you're a Trailblazer and you book a room, then you get to come for free. So not only are you getting a great deal on an amazing hotel in Dallas, but you're also getting access to this really fun event. So
It's really cool.
It's going to be cool, and it's going to be really interesting to see what he comes up with, because a lot of times you go to just the distilleries and you try their stuff, and maybe you have some food there, but this will be really interesting to be in a place where there's food already, and then all these different whiskeys for you to get to try. So
Yeah, so for those of you that are curious, the 5 are Balcones Distilling, Lone Elm, which is 5 Points Distilling in Forney. You have Deep Ellum Distilling, which hasn't released their whiskey yet, but it's in maturation in downtown Dallas. Iron Root Republic, which is celebrating their 5th anniversary up in Denison, Texas. And Tawakero, which is in Grapevine, and they're a relatively new member as well. So a lot of stuff going on, and you guys will be hitting up most of them.
We're going to hit them all. So we're going to start at 5 Point Saturday at noon.
Yep.
And do the tour, open to everybody, obviously. Should last a couple hours, then head over for the celebration at
Right.
Iron Root
Yeah.
and finish the night there. And then obviously
Nice.
hit the hotel
Yeah.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then we'll hit Deep Ellum at noon on Sunday, do the tour,
Yeah.
and then we'll head over to Grapevine too.
Well, and that's actually perfect, because Deep Ellum, while we're still waiting on their whiskey, they have an apple cinnamon infused vodka that's amazing. And I tried it this weekend actually with a little bit of apple cider and
Yeah.
Sprite, and I saw on their site that they've got like an apple pie cocktail or something. I don't know.
They got
Tastes
a
like
lot.
apple pie.
It sounds like great day drinking options. So that's where, by the way, we're going to
We're
go
gonna go there,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So that schedule, if you don't mind, we'll post that at some point,
Perfect.
and let people, if you're a trail member, join the Probst Guild on their tours. We just want to get as many people up to the North Texas region as
Yeah.
possible, because it's an
Absolutely.
amazing area
Yeah.
and growing
Absolutely.
like crazy.
Yeah.
So Stan, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
So good to have you on here.
Thank you so much. we back online? Okay.
Okay.
Back
And we're
online.
back.
All right. And
Well,
we're back.
hello.
We took a short commercial break.
Yeah.
Another
It's like
luminary of Texas whiskey, Texas Whiskey Festival,
It's a
founder
scary word.
and pioneer,
We're working on
Jake
it.
Clements. So tell us a little bit about why did you start the Texas Whiskey Festival a few years ago? It's going into your third year, right?
It is. We will do the third annual one on March 7th. I don't know. It kind of all started around a conversation of, can we do an event with just Texas-based whiskey?
Yeah.
We weren't sure. Then we decided, sure, why not? And we put tickets on sale with nothing but a deposit on a venue, and well, here we are 3 years later. So we're working on it, but the whole idea is to celebrate what Texas whiskey is doing. Like the trail, we believe that there's a lot of great things coming out of Texas. Andalusia here is a great example. This PX Sherry Finish Striker is amazing. But we want to celebrate that. Not enough people know about what's going on in Texas, and so the idea was you can browbeat people by shouting at them with messages, or you can invite them to experience it.
Right.
And so the idea is we want everybody to experience what Texas whiskey is. So we create an environment that is fun. It is that community aspect of it. You get food, live music, basically everything that Texas is.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about this, the event that you're doing here that we're kind of, joint working on. You started this here at 7 Grand, Texas Whiskey Tuesdays, and the Meet the Maker series.
So the idea behind Texas Tuesday in the first place is, and if you're any bar watching, let's expand this, is that create a day where we can introduce people to Texas whiskey. I mean, at your local bar, whether it's through happy hours or whatever, but give an opportunity where they can be opened up to something new.
Right.
The idea behind the Meet the Makers series was really trying to establish that connection, that personal one-on-one with the brand, and it goes back to that experience.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to sit down and talk to Ty or Davin or Jared. You get to talk to any of these guys, you immediately just fall in love with their product and their craft and what they're trying to do. And so the idea is give people an opportunity to meet these distillers that they may not ever normally get to.
Right. And you're kind of doing your own Blanco hat trick over the 3 weekends. You got Davin of Real Spirits was last week,
Yep.
Tuesday.
Andalusia's here tonight, and then Heather Green from Milam & Green will be here next week.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're super excited to have Heather. She's awesome. We're actually going to raffle off a signed copy of her book and 2 VIP tickets next week. So come back and you could, win some tickets or a
Now,
book.
That's VIP tickets to the festival, right?
Correct.
And
To
when
the
is
Texas,
that going to be?
the Texas Whiskey Festival is March 7th. It's
Okay.
going to be at Star Hill Ranch, so it's
Awesome.
here in Austin. Tickets go on sale on the 20th.
Okay. Mark your calendars, folks.
Yes, mark your calendars. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming we will have the trail out there and
of
have
course.
a check-in. Yes.
Yes.
I think we can crush Daniel's Bastards Ball 200 people.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Sorry, Daniel.
we won't be doing a broadcast next week, but please come
Yes.
out and see Heather.
Yeah.
She's an amazing wealth of knowledge.
And if you hadn't tried their two new products, they are fantastic.
Yes.
Their
Yes.
3-wood bourbon and their port finished rye, hands down worth coming out just for that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Jake, thank you so much for all
Yes.
you're doing.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.
Appreciate
Thanks for
everything that
having
you're
me.
doing
Yep.
for
So,
Texas whiskey.
cheers.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
Cheers,
then,
guys.
we'll have Ty jump up here real quick.
All right.
You're next on the chopping
Wait,
block.
but can you bring some of that?
Yeah, bring some of that whiskey up.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, please. I've been talking about it all night. He knows exactly what I want to try.
Now, is this the PX that he's bringing up?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Ooh-wee.
Ty.
Hey guys,
Yes.
how are y'all?
All right.
So, Ty. There, give it up for Ty.
Yes.
Give it up for Andalusia.
I'm really excited about this.
Yes.
I've always loved Andalusia stuff, but I got to try this actually here. We had an association meeting, I don't know, like a couple months
yep.
ago here.
Yeah, we had a board meeting.
And like these guys, they come in with these boxes full of stuff they're working on. It's like one of the greatest perks of doing this job. And this was in it, and I was blown away. I'm so excited. So tell us about this.
Yeah, this is our Striker whiskey, which is our hardwood smoked single malt. And it's got its normal aging in a new barrel, but then it got 6 months additionally in a PX sherry cask. It's going to be released as a part of a gift set that we're doing. 3 of our core brands, all PX sherry finished, all in a gift box. Going to be released at the distillery in about a month from now.
Awesome.
Well, this is like we've tasted it a little bit out of the barrel.
Yep.
It's I feel like it's even more refined now than it was, what was it, a month ago or so at your anniversary party.
Yeah,
when was your anniversary? It was September, right?
Yep, first week of September. We feel
so
that
good.
the sherry and the smoke really integrate and wrap themselves around one another really well in this product. Some of our other sherry finishes, you have sherry and you have smoke, and they're both there, and these really wrap themselves up and kind of form, a new flavor together, and so Striker is really my favorite of the three. So.
I was just about to ask you, which one is your favorite? Striker?
Yeah.
Is Striker your favorite, like always?
It is,
or
and
just
so
in
that's
this
a little
iteration?
unfair. It is
Okay.
of our three, but I'm also a big fan of the Irish. I'm not a
Okay.
peat guy personally, so that's usually
Yeah.
not my favorite. But
Yeah.
the Irish is really good as well.
So tell people a little bit about how you got into distilling, because you were not a distiller.
No, spent most of my professional career as a craft brewer. Worked at breweries in Austin and brew pubs and in the Hill Country as well. My wife and I moved out to the Hill Country, worked for a brewery out there, and that brewery started a spirits program.
Yep.
And so it was a great opportunity for me to make the leap from beer to spirits. Making malt whiskey is not a big leap from beer. You make beer for the first 6 steps of making malt whiskey. And so it was really right up my alley. I also, firmly believe, and it's kind of happening to myself, most of us craft beer guys are going to drink a little more whiskey and a little less beer every day. They get a little bit older. So I'm really banking on that.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
absolutely.
Well, so you've been about 3 years in the business, right?
Yep.
Now, this is kind of an important day because we just obviously got the Texas Monthly article about the Texas whiskey boom. You guys are featured in that. It's also a really big day because we just mobilized at the Texas Whiskey Association, we just mobilized people around the Craft Beverage Modernization Tax Reform Act, which about 2 years ago passed and reduced the excise taxes on distillers or on craft distilleries for about 400 to 4 or 5 times over a tax reduction from what it was. So it really allowed for the craft and for the small startup distilleries to get going, and you kind of were right there riding that wave.
Yep.
And now it's actually up for renewal, but if it doesn't renew by the end of the year, those taxes are going to shoot right back up. What does that do to craft distillers?
Yeah. This was passed, like you said, a couple years ago as a part of the larger tax cut package. Some things were permanent in that package, some things were temporary, and this was one of the temporary ones, unfortunately. We got a 2-year break from a pretty substantial federal excise tax. Now, this is a tax that we pay well before the whiskey's even sold to the consumer. So this is not sales tax. This is not anything the consumer pays. This is a production tax that we're paying. And it's much, much higher ounce per ounce of alcohol than it is for beer or wine. Beer or wine are pretty much parity, but spirits is just unusually high, and we're trying to get that back to a reasonable level. When that tax rate was lowered, we literally hired an employee, a full-time employee, and for us, that was our first employee, our first full-time employee. We still have him on staff. He's our production employee. And I got to be honest, his job is in a little bit of jeopardy if this does not pass, and we've got to start paying that tax again. Because it is literally his paycheck. It's that amount for us, and so it's a big deal for us. And so we're really working hard with Discus and with the Texas Whiskey Association and to try to help get this passed.
Yeah. So today we launched something with Spirits United, which is a campaign of Discus, the Distilled Spirits Council of the United States, and TDSA, the Texas Distilled Spirits Association, and all of us came together and said Texas needs to get on this. Texas legislators need to get on this because it's an important thing. Like you said, employees are at stake here. People's careers are at stake. It's an important thing, and this boom is not going to continue to boom if we don't get on it. So Ty, tell a little bit about what you're looking forward to in Texas whiskey in general. What experimentation's like, because for those of you that don't know what Texas whiskey is, think Scotch, but bolder and better and in lots of weird and interesting ways, and there's a lot of innovation going on down here.
Yeah, and we do a little bit of both. We like to stick with some tradition, but then we're big on innovation, bringing old world styles back home and sort of making them our own. That's kind of what Striker is. Instead of peat, we're using hardwood to smoke our barley. But I expect to see a lot more of that, bringing really traditional things back to Texas and sort of making them our own. Whether or not it's through the climate, our aging climate, or through our ingredients or our woods that we have here. I'm going to be very excited, especially since we're so heavily focused on malted barley. I'm very excited to see where the malted barley industry in Texas is going. There really hasn't been that much malted barley available to us, but that's increasing every year. We're getting more planted and, importantly, more malted. It's not that hard to grow barley here in Texas, but there's just not very many malting facilities. So we're getting more and more of those online. They're getting bigger and more sophisticated every year, and we hope to be 100% Texas malted barley as soon as we can.
Now tell us about what event are you going to have to release this goodness to the world?
Cool. Yep. On November 9th, and I think we're announcing it right now, actually.
Sorry,
no, we're good. We're ready. We're ready.
I just really want to know.
Breaking news.
On November 9th at the distillery, we're going to release the PX Sherry 3-pack. We're going to have a big, fun Spain-themed day. We're going to have paella is going to be cooked and served. We're going to have flamenco music and flamenco dancers going on there. And so you can have a good time. But we're going to have plenty of gift packs. We're not going to be doing any pre-saling, not necessary. And so, come on out. It should be a fun day, November 9th.
It's a big deal, folks. Go out and get this stuff. It's really absolutely amazing, and it's all certified Texas whiskey. Really, really
all three.
good stuff.
Yep.
So thank you, Ty. Thank you for being
Thanks,
here.
guys.
Thank you for doing what you guys are
Thanks for
doing.
having me.
Cheers. So,
That's around my birthday too, so happy birthday to me.
happy birthday to you.
Yeah, and I've talked about this before, so this isn't really news to probably anyone in this room, but they have an amazing whiskey Coke Slurpee. Have you all had that? And they add Centurion, and it's
It's life.
Amazing. Whoops, I just...
She just spilled.
I'm so excited.
She's so excited. She spilled.
Yes.
So,
Good.
without further ado,
Yes.
it is time to bring up the man, the myth, the legend, Jesse Willson from New Zealand, the Kiwi himself. Our featured guest flew thousands and thousands and thousands of miles.
Just for this.
From Mount Doom, he's trekked down
Hey, dude.
to come and see us.
How's it going, guys?
Jesse,
Good.
thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Jesse, I've been doing this particular job formally for about a year or so.
Right.
And since I've seen you twice in Texas.
Yeah.
I didn't have to travel to New Zealand at all.
No, you came to our house one time.
I know, you came to our house one time.
know.
You're staying with my parents this time. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy, the whole Texas hospitality thing.
Yeah.
Is it a real thing?
It's real.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
You're still alive, so it's not creepy. It's just nice.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
far,
100%.
right? Yeah? Maybe?
It just got weird, folks.
You know.
I may refuse to come back until you guys
Yeah, figure that out.
come back our way.
Oh, no, definitely. Yes. Okay, you heard that.
I want to go to New Zealand,
All right,
for sure.
well, let's go to New Zealand. How about next year?
Yeah, we're in the
All
middle of
right, we're
summer,
gonna
so
go.
we get out of
Do we
the
just do it? Okay.
Deal.
It's done.
Okay.
Deal. So,
We'd love to have you.
So talk a little bit about your channel, because
Yeah, sure.
you are not a professional distiller,
Nope.
but you have created a profession sort of out of distilling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
isn't
guess.
that kind of fun?
Yeah, it's great. I had never distilled a drop of liquor before I started the channel. So
Yeah.
my first few videos were essentially talking about distilling while I was still building the still.
Yeah.
The whole idea of the channel is to learn something myself and then pass it on to other people as well. So I'm no guru. I mean, we've got Ty over here, right? That's ridiculous. So it's more, I guess, I find information, digest information, and then try and make it a little bit more tangible and easy to access for other people that are interested.
Right.
Because of certain laws in certain parts of the world.
Like
Yeah.
all of America?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And pretty much New Zealand's one of the rare countries where it's legal, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is awesome. The real land of the free.
Yeah. I'm ready to move.
Yeah.
Summer's already hot.
That's right.
Yeah, but because of that, the information's underground. It's hard to get to. There's forums,
Yeah.
which are great, but you know what forums are like. It's hard to find.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where I sit in the community, and then there's been a fairly heavy overlap with the Whiskey Tribe as well, which is just an amazing group of people.
And that just kind of goes to show, the Whiskey Tribe kind of formed out of Texas, but it has created this global community.
Oh, it's crazy.
Of
Yeah.
magnificent bastards across the world who were literally just here this weekend. You were here for the Bastards Ball. And about how many people, tribe folks, were there? About 500 or so? Ish? I mean, from around the world.
Yeah,
right?
that's
We've
crazy.
got Terry here from Ireland, you're here from New Zealand. I mean, this is crazy what is happening right now and kind of congregating in Texas. But
yeah,
how did you just find them on YouTube? Is it because you were YouTubing? What was the seek out that you found?
Forgive me if my timeline's slightly off.
Sure.
But when I was researching the channel, my channel, deciding whether or not to do it and whether to do it on distilling or pick a different topic, I started looking for anyone that was even tangentially related to distilling on YouTube to see if it was actually possible to create, you know, a community or a following with that sort of topic. And at that time, Daniel and Rex were just starting to sort of take off. I think when I started following them, they had 8,000 followers or something silly. So that's how I started following them. And to be honest, I was just poaching information from them. And you know, I wasn't into whiskey, but I wanted to make whiskey.
Okay.
So that was kind of where that came from. But then obviously I got caught up in it. The community was awesome. The people there were awesome. Like these guys over here that aren't paying any attention to us.
No,
they're
all
slack.
They already know all this.
Yeah.
So when did it switch for you to when you got interested in
whiskey?
Yeah.
Well, the thing was that I always wanted to get into whiskey. I liked I like tinkering with things. So I wanted to be able to make cocktails. I wanted to be able to use whiskey in cooking. I wanted to be able to taste different things and sort of just nerd out on it.
Right. Yeah.
But it wasn't that accessible for me. So I figured if I couldn't just go out and buy it, it's kind of expensive in New Zealand, and you know, I was in a bad job at the time. Make it.
Yeah.
But then of course you start trying to make whiskey, and then you want to know if you're heading in the right direction. So then you've got to go buy whiskey to assess with. So
it's an expensive hobby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It'll take your money.
Yes, it
But excuse me, coming off of a little bit of a cold, so great day for a first podcast, right? But you have what, about 30,000 subscribers now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So now, just to be clear, in the States, it is federally illegal to do any kind of home distillation.
Yeah. Should we get the disclaimers out of the way?
Yeah, disclaimer.
Yeah.
Disclaimer.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. It's dangerous and bad.
Evil.
Evil, bad.
Yeah.
And
but seriously, check your laws.
Check your laws.
Where you are.
Yeah.
We're very lucky in New Zealand to be able to do it.
Yeah.
There are a couple of states in America where it's legal at the state level, but still federally illegal.
Yeah.
If you're in one of those lucky places, then I guess it's up to you whether how you feel about that. We're pretty lucky in New Zealand. And the amazing thing to me is that there's this huge craft boom of whiskey here without that groundswell of people being able to do it in their shed, right?
Right.
So they can't just tinker with things and then, you know, go and walk into one of these amazing distilleries. Try this, what do you think? By the way, can I have an internship? Or, you know, there's no access like that. There is in New Zealand, you're able to do that.
Yeah.
But there's not a huge swell of craft distilleries, which is, it's a weird disconnect for me.
Yeah.
And I feel like if it did ever get legalized in America, it would just blow the doors off the hobby.
Yeah.
Because there'd be this huge knowledge base suddenly accessible for everyone worldwide.
Yeah.
Like what happened in craft beer, right? Craft beer got legalized, California blew up with craft breweries everywhere.
And homebrewers and everything. It just became a thing.
And the information sharing between the homebrewers and the commercial guys is intense, because if it's your job, you're trying to make money, you can't do something crazy. Well, you can, and I know a lot of the people in Texas are, which I take my hat off to them, man, it's awesome. Yeah. But you know, it's a much scarier proposition to be able to really take it to the edge in terms of new ingredients or new techniques or something. But the homebrewer can do it.
Yeah.
You know, it costs them $40 for a batch.
Yeah.
And then most of the times they fail, and that's horrible. But every now and again they'll find something that's amazing, and then the commercial guys can come in and use that technique or ingredient as well.
So what's the craziest combination you've ever made that you were like surprised that was actually pretty good? Or do you go in it thinking they're all going to be good and then maybe find something that work like you think they're going to?
I definitely tried that. I have an Irish peated, I tried Connemara, based on Daniel's recommendation. Loved it. And I didn't try to clone it, but I used it as a inspiration. and it turned out strange, man. If you're into Parmesan cheese and kimchi and a little bit of stinky socks, then it might be kind of for you. But things just go sideways sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm very much about, I like to, I've never made the same thing twice.
Okay.
So I like to try crazy things rather than
Right.
really try to
Right.
hone
Yeah.
a recipe down.
Well, that's one of the things I found interesting about kind of like my own little whiskey journey is that there was definitely a time where it's like, oh, that's my favorite whiskey. And then eventually it just became, no, that's not my favorite. It's just interesting.
It's really good, yeah.
Right? Like there's definitely good ones that are like always, kind of, you can't go wrong with it. But I'm more interested in like, oh, that's unique. And then like this, PX finish, Striker, it's got smoke, it's got this sherry, it's amazingly layered.
I haven't tried that yet.
Well, dude.
Oh, okay, right now.
Yeah,
All right,
please.
on the
We're
spot.
friends. It's the Texas Southern Hospitality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I agree, right? More often than not, I would rather try something that's different, that I don't like,
Right.
than try something that's, I know I'm going to like it, because I can learn from it or discover that,
Right. Right.
people hold this as a good example of a certain whiskey, but I don't like it, but it's still interesting. I'd rather do that more than just drink what I like.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that I find about whiskey is that it's really just a foil for, what do you think? Ty knows what he's doing, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
does.
it's good stuff.
Lucky I'm going to visit him tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, you're in luck.
Possible episode coming out of that?
Oh, yeah, multiple,
Yeah.
hopefully.
But like, the cool thing about whiskey is that it's, and Daniel talks about this a lot, but it's about the stories, right? And it's about the stories that you have with each other. It's about the links that are created between people. It's kind of just, it's the grease in the wheels that gets things going.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
And otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here talking to a guy from New Zealand
Yeah.
coming down to a random bar in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty amazing, the power of this interesting little product, right?
100%. And I mean, the night that we met, we had, I don't know, at least 10 different whiskeys that I had not had before.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of them, but I remember you guys. And
That's
I remember
right.
enjoying whiskey with you. I lie. Lefroy Law.
Oh,
you
yeah.
introduced me to that? Yeah, that was pretty epic.
So you remember one.
I do.
And that's
remember
usually
that.
what happens. And you have a bunch of whiskeys, you remember one, and you'll be like, I got to go get that. And
Yeah.
then, but that's great because like it always bridges that mental gap, right? It gives you that thing that draws back that memory. It's
It works the other way too, right?
Right.
Twice this trip, I've put my nose in something and thought grandma, and couldn't figure out why. And then I realized it was a weird confectionery. There was something in there that smelled like we'd call it a lolly, but like a candy that she used to have at her house that we'd go over and pull out of the jar.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who it was, but someone pointed out to me it was those little, kind of horrible little jelly tube things that are covered in sugar.
Oh yeah.
And it was delicious in the whiskey.
Like jujubes or something like that?
Yeah. It was delicious in the whiskey. The lollies themselves are kind of horrible, but it took me straight back to that moment in my life. So it's weird that it creates memories, but it also brings memories back to you.
Yeah.
So what's the weirdest thing that has happened to you in Texas, and the most fun thing that you've done so far? Because you've been doing a lot of stuff in a very short period of time, because you got to condense it all.
I do, yeah. Well, essentially it was if I'm going to fly across the world for something, may as well stay here, right?
Yeah.
Weirdest thing? I went into the bottle store near where I was staying. They had a burger place in there in the bottle store, that was weird to me to start with. Said hi to the guy that walked past me, happened to work there, and he said, "Oh, are you from New Zealand?" "Yes, I am." He runs over to the microphone, the loud hailer thing.
Yeah.
Steve, you have to come to the front desk now. He's from New Zealand too. So
Oh, no.
he literally called this guy off from. Yeah, that was a very Texas moment for me.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Oh, yeah, I sat and talked to the guy for 20 minutes just because we were from New Zealand.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I thought it was weird because we were talking at my parents' place. And, my mom was asking what you were doing and what you do professionally, which is, you want to say what you do professionally?
Yeah,
Outside
sure.
Your channel?
I work for a dog food company in New Zealand, of all things. Yeah, it's just like a super premium food company. It's not in America yet. It's coming. Mm-hmm. It's a small place, so I tend to do anything and everything that needs doing. I don't get into the production side much, but mostly marketing, sort of random business side of things.
Yeah. But one of your stateside customers is is from Hereford, Texas, where that's where my family's from, and they were basically just a cattle producer, and they eventually got into dog food because they were taking different types of cattle products and turning them into dog food, and they're now a major dog food company here in the States.
Yeah, they're pretty big.
So like that's pretty weird.
Yeah.
That you have this kind of a connection to this random small place in Texas, up in the Panhandle, which has about 15,000 people and about I guess it's about 1.5 million cattle, right?
Kind of like New Zealand.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy. So there's these weird connections that kind of bring this community together, and I think that's really, really fun.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Texas is totally turning into, it's cheesy as hell, but like my spiritual home.
Yeah.
Like spirits. I feel very connected to the place in a weird way, and I feel at home here in a way that I don't in other parts of America. I love going to California. I love going to Vegas or whatever it happens to be. 3 days, get me the hell out of there. It was fun. I don't need to go back there for a year, but I just feel comfortable here. Yeah, it's
We
great.
like having you here.
Oh, yeah.
Come back anytime.
I will be back. I definitely will be back.
Well, if anybody has any questions for Jesse, feel free to step up or shout it. We'll repeat it so that it can be heard on camera. But I just wanted to first offer you your Trailblazer package.
Oh, yes.
Excellent. It's
Why don't you
official.
show it for everyone. So this is what you get if you become a Trailblazer member. Your little package. You get your shirt, your Glen Cairn, a nice little bag, and your card-carrying member. So yes,
Excellent.
start earning
Thank you,
points,
guys.
checking in. We're so glad to have you
Oh
as
my
a part
word.
of our little. We'll pick it up
That's
later.
no disrespect. It's just
No, that's
clumsy
okay.
and too much
If I try
whiskey.
to pick it up right now, I'll knock everything over. So
And we also thought, since you're the one who flew the longest,
yes.
and you're
Okay.
traveling the longest to get to the trail itself, you of anybody deserves a
Yes.
neck pillow for
Yes.
the Texas Whiskey Trail.
That is
So on your way
excellent.
home, when you're exhausted and hungover, and one last parting gift. This will be in our merch store soon, but Texas Whiskey Forever.
Yeah.
So you'll never
Awesome.
forget your friends.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
So thank you, Jesse. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for being a part of this, for being
Yes.
just an awesome dude.
Thank you for having me. I feel totally merched up.
Well,
This is awesome.
Thank you for hosting us next year.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
Our vacation. It's gonna be really
Seriously,
great.
yeah, chicken.
Yeah, very good.
All right, so if anybody has any questions for Jesse, raise your hand. If not, we'll just kind of wrap up the podcast for the first time. I'm sure. Oh, we have a question from the audience. Yes.
What is your favorite thing about Texas and Texas whiskey?
What's your favorite thing about Texas and Texas whiskey is your question.
2 questions?
Oh, she took 2.
A twofer. The food is pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
There's 2 things here that we can't get in New Zealand. Barbecue, proper barbecue, and tacos. And we can kind of get them, but we can't get
It's
them.
not the same.
Yeah.
No.
The tacos here are pretty damn amazing.
Yeah.
Do you Tim Tams though?
Tim Tams? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you have those, right?
Do you guys know about a Tim Tam Slam? Have
Yes,
you heard
with
of
coffee. Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah, you
that's
gotta use it like a
amazing.
straw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Favorite thing? Talking about junk food.
Yeah.
Favorite thing about Texas whiskey? The most interesting thing to me about it is there's this weird wood taste that comes, and it has to be a function of the heat and the fluctuation in heat, the fluctuation in pressure.
Yeah.
But it is oaky. It's a dark candy flavor that goes past caramel into almost burnt sugar, but not.
Yeah.
And it stops just short of being bitter or astringent. And that to me is the thing that sort of shows up most through the most distilleries, I guess.
Yeah.
And because, like I said, I enjoy things that are different or strange or unique, I guess is a better word for it. I think that's my favorite part of it, yeah.
There definitely is a signature, right?
Yeah.
But what I think is interesting is you go to the North region, and you're going to go to Iron Root this week. You're wearing their shirt. They're doing some interesting things up there.
Oh, totally.
They're basically in another state. I mean, I lived in D.C. for a while, and I would go visit her up in Philadelphia, and it would be a 3-hour drive, and you'd go through 4 or 5 states to get there.
Yeah.
Right? Here, a 3-hour drive gets you to another city.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, the climate is so different that it really does make, but the heat is consistent, right? It's going to be hot in the summer, for sure. It was hot today. I mean, you've experienced the fluctuations since you've been here. Mm-hmm. Sweating like crazy still.
Yeah, me too.
It was about 90 degrees today, and then tomorrow is going to be about what, 62, 67, something like that?
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I can light my candle tomorrow.
What's that?
I can light my fall candle tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. See? That's what we call a callback, folks.
That's right.
The funny thing is, Iron Root was the one distillery I didn't taste that flavor in last time I was here. There was something different about it, and it wasn't there. I'm not sure if it was... I got to taste their 5th year anniversary.
Icor?
It's in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it kind of enforces my opinion on that flavor in some way. Yeah.
Well, with that, guys, I think we're going to wrap up the first ever podcast from Tales from the Texas Whiskey Trail. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Please make yourselves heard. We promise next time we do this, we're going to try to do one in November, and we're going to try to do one in December. And then if it takes off, it takes off. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We'll give it a shot. We'll see how it works. But we'll try to get this going, and we'd love to have more of you come down to 7 Grand Austin and maybe other places around the state as we move forward. So thank you all for coming down. Make sure you go and get some more whiskey at the bar here. Thank you again to 7 Grand Austin and Steve White for putting this on for us. And thank you, Jesse, for being our special guest.
Thank you for having me.
And if you're in town on Thursday, Bourbon Women, we're having an event at Still Austin. Super excited, and you don't have to be a woman to come.
Okay.
So check out Facebook page and all that kind of stuff for all the details. Can you be a woman? Well, that's taking this podcast in a whole different direction. I'm going to wrap this sucker up.
I don't subscribe to your binary norms.
Okay. And with that,
we are out of here.
yes. Well, thanks for watching the one and only.
And the fever's
Texas.
back.
Yeah.
No, thank you guys so much for coming. I appreciate it very much, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.
Bye.